with Liz Gale. Messy, fun, raw, real. Let's get into it.
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. TGIF. So glad you guys are here. I'm noticing there's quite a few people in the chat. Hi, y'all. Glad you're here. Whew. I felt like there might be some people in the chat today when I made my thumbnail this morning. And today, you hear that rustling paper? That's me with notes, guys. We've all been here. We know this mind can go off track. So we got some things to talk about today. First, I want to be really clear here. Oh, wow. Hi. West Coast Fancy Nancy became a member. Feel free to become a member, everybody. Members actually go to Support by Arts, not necessarily streams like this, but it's very inexpensive and it helps me a lot. So give it a shot. Thanks. So the first thing I want to say is that today is a response video. Today is not going to be a tit for tat video. It's not going to be maybe the salacious drama video that you were hoping for. I mean, I don't know what's going on in your mind. Maybe it is. But I know, guys, that I have said, wow, thanks, Irish Mart. Oh, did it not go up? Thank you so very much. Yeah. Keep them coming, guys. Love it. Oh, thank you. Yes, please say thank you. I'm trying to take that off and I keep putting it on more. What's happening over here, guys? I'm having a time. Okay. So this morning's video is not going to be a tit for tat. It's not going to be a reaction video where I'm going to like play somebody else's video and go through it point by point or anything like that. I think we've sort of passed the line of the tit for tat sort of drama. Y'all know I love a good drama around here. You know I'm here for it. Who kissed who did this, what's going on? But when we start talking about things like domestic situations or like really ongoing, long-term sort of really messed up cycles, I don't want to make light of that. And I don't want to make that be some sort of thumbnail, right? Does that make sense? So I can't tell anybody else's story. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. That's not on me. All I can do is tell you guys my story in relation to everything that's been going down lately. Oh, there's some good advice in that chat. I see you. I see what you're saying. And before I get started this morning, I do want to say something directly to Jenna Miscavige, who, I mean, I'm not sure if she would even watch this necessarily, but maybe this clip will get to her. Jenna, the last time that we spoke, we agreed that we couldn't trust each other as far as we could throw each other, and that we were not going to be friends. But as human to human, we did make a couple, I don't want to call them promises, but do you remember we did agree that no matter what, we weren't going to let Aaron triangulate us against each other. And that if something came up, one of us that would reach out to the other person. This was a while ago. I don't know if some of the things you said to me in that call were true necessarily. Things have changed since then, obviously. But I want you to know, Jenna, that I do believe that happened. And I'm not trying to put you under anybody's spell or say that you're under any, you are your own person. So I just want to let you know that I feel that you went back on that. And I'm disappointed because a lot of what you said about me in your members only live with your boyfriend was rough stuff and not all true. And I know that you know that. So there's that. Please do, Melody. Please do. I just also realized that my computer charger's over there, so I might have to grab that in a minute. So that's the first thing that I just wanted to get out of the way, okay? And I need to slow down and take my time, guys, because it's Friday morning. Spring break is coming to an end. So decided not to say that part. Okay, so for anybody watching right now who does not know what the hell's going on, I don't think there's very many of you. I want to start at the beginning. My name is Liz Gale. I am an ex-Scientologist. I'm an author, an activist, and an artist. Let's see. I first spoke out against Scientology in 2016. That was 10 years ago. And I did it on Mike Rinder's blog. I don't know if you guys remember Mike Rinder. May he rest in peace. He was the co-host of Scientology in the Aftermath with Leah Remini. He was also an ex-Scientologist himself and a very high-level ex-Scientologist whistleblower when he came out. Thank you so much, Kathy. So before that, I got to stop hitting my microphone. Before that, for like 10 years, I was what's called under the radar. I wasn't really a Scientologist, but everybody around me, my family anyway, was. And so I had to play nice. I couldn't say anything. Couldn't do this. That's for sure. After I fully came out of Scientology, like blew the lid off of it, I fell apart. I was raised and born in Scientology, which means that when I left, I had no other identity to go back to. So I had to start from scratch. And I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who I wanted to be. But the few things that I knew was that I wanted to live an authentic and creative life. I knew that. I also knew that part of my healing journey and my journey in this life, this path in life, would have to do with writing because I had always enjoyed writing ever since I was a little kid. I had journals and poetry and all kinds of stuff, and that has been huge for me. So I also want to mention that during the time that I was under the radar, I was gaining strength and courage to get out of Scientology, right? I went to school. It took me 8 years. I got my 4-year degree, but I went for child and family studies. I learned about sociology. I learned about psychology. I learned about human development. I learned about special needs for children. I learned about language development. I learned about all kinds of things. A child and family studies bachelor's degree of science, okay? I also became a parent myself, and I became a partner. I'm not going to say I was a wife. I've only been married to my husband for, gosh, I should know this, 5 years. Because we got pregnant in our 6 weeks after meeting in our early 20s. Do not recommend that route. It has been a rocky road. And now we have a 20-year-old son together. And we have another child as well, but that's the oldest. This girl keeps hitting her microphone. I'm wiggling. I'm wiggly over here. Okay. Thank you, Lupita. Yes, hit the like button. And I know you're like, oh, Liz, you're talking about you. I want to set the stage just so everybody knows. I don't want to start here or there. I want to start at the beginning. And I want to make sure that my story in this situation is just told. That's it. I don't need to counter anybody or clap back with name calling or anything like that. But that's why we're starting now, where we are. Okay. So I always loved writing. In my healing, in my life, I decided to write a book, a memoir, Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist Pothead. It is on Amazon right now. It is the first of going to be a series. And I talk about a lot of stuff in there. If you want to know about me, my family, about how I, used LSD to get out of the Sea Org, Honestly, I talk about my essay and about how Scientology handled that. There's some essay. There's a lot in there. There's some quizzes. There's a lot going on in my book, and I felt really happy and proud of it. Now, in order to be a self-published author, you have to have a social media platform. So around 2022, I started, 2022, my own dedicated TikTok because I'd never been on TikTok and I didn't want any of my other socials overlapping because I was still scared. And I went on TikTok and I started making Scientology, growing up in Scientology, like childhood Scientology, these kind of things, content. And I'm not going to say it like blew up crazy, but I have a decent following and I've had a few videos do really well, or shorts, and I love it. It's not all talking about Scientology, because that was the other thing early on in my personal journey. I decided that I wasn't going to brand the book or like one story. I was going to brand myself. And I'm not just an ex-Scientologist. I'm a mom. I'm an artist. I'm an author. I'm, as we all know, a little bit of a mess. So that's what's kind of ended me up on social media. I want to be clear that I did this without the help of anybody at that point. At that point, I just said, I'm going to go on my own and I'm going to do it. And of course, that brought a lot of connections and eyes and collaborations. And honestly, in promoting my book, I found new ways to express what I had been through with Scientology. If you have followed me for a while, you might know that sometimes I do silly dancing videos and I do lip syncing little things, which are all extremely popular and very normal on TikTok, but don't tend to land as well on other platforms because it's kind of a specific vibe, a specific world. Okay, I'm looking down at my notes here. Okay. So this is going to bring me back to the beginning here. So that's a little bit about me, right? That's how I started on social media. That's how I landed in the ex-Scientology kind of space. Okay. And there's not that many of us. And then there did become this boom on here on YouTube. And it is hugely to the credit of what was once called SPTV. And this was pretty much the crew of the Aftermath Foundation. So we have the Aftermath show. That is Leah Remini, Scientology, The Aftermath, with the co-host Mike Rinder. Then we have what used to be called the Aftermath Foundation. And that is a nonprofit organization of which Mike Rinder was on the board. And there were other people on the board as well. And growing up in Scientology, Aaron Smith-Levin, who is a big part of what we're going to be talking about today, he was on that board. Now, again, I've been around for a while. So I've received much information over the years. I was there on the CC on the email chain when Nick Lister, who is a person who started growing up in Scientology's channel, I guess, with him, and he was very upset. I received a very upset email, had to do with a lot of criminal and negligent and malicious activity that he believed Aaron had done. I was also there in a private group on Facebook that was only dedicated to ex-Scientologists when Aaron got kicked out of the group because he was defending the quote in Dianetics about how an 8-year-old girl shouldn't shudder when a grown man kisses her. Now, in his defense, it was meant, I suppose, to be some sort of logical conversation. I don't really know. Not the place, not the time. Didn't read the room. Got booted out. I don't know what he believes today. This was a long time ago. We all have our healing. We all have our things. The reason I'm bringing this up is not to condemn someone's past behavior from 10 years ago. It is just to say to you guys that I've been around a while, and this isn't my first rodeo, and this isn't my first, yeah, it's just not my first rodeo. We'll just leave it at that. So, I do see some of your comments here, and I so appreciate them. I'm worried I'll get off track, so I'm just going to stick with my notes for now. Okay. Then I go on the Aftermath Foundation, or I go on the Aftermath show. This is where I first actually came in contact with Nora, who is the Raging Buddha, on Kick, Rumble, Substack, and back on YouTube again soon, hopefully. Hold on. So, the experience of going on the Aftermath show, the A&E show, was very bonding. And there were meetups, there were in person. We even had like a group counseling session. I flew to LA and met up with a bunch of people. Erin was not a part of that at all, nor was Jenna. These were relationships made completely outside of their scope. Totally didn't even really know they existed. Or, I mean, I knew Jenna had written a book, but I had never she was on the forefront of my mind. I made some really great relationships and contacts then that I still have to this day. That was when I first met Dylan, Christy Gordon, many other people. I don't want to just be a name dropper over here, but deep connections were formed, and it really elevated my experience in the ex-Scientology space, because I became to understand that we all have very similar experience, and that's worth fighting for children not to go through again, right? So when it came for my book to come out and me to take more of a stand and be more public, I did go here onto YouTube. And I'm going to be really honest with you guys. Aaron platformed me on his channel, and he was platforming everybody. And he did, I had an unboxing, and we were chatting, and he was like, well, open the box. It was my first peek at my book. And I do think that probably helped me a lot. And I am grateful for that. So I'll just say that right now, right? Because there can be good and bad and beauty and ugly all together, but I'm just telling you an experience, right? So then more and more people get on YouTube. We've got so many people speaking out. The Danny Masterson trial. There were, I think at one point, maybe 35, maybe more ex-Scientologists having their channels online. People were co-streaming. So you'd have 3 people and on a panel, or 5 people on a panel going to 5 different channels. Everything was gravy. It was beautiful. There was definitely a cool kids and a this and a that, but that's how it goes in YouTube, because everything is statistics and it's popularity contest, right? So, I mean, whatever. And yes, we learned many things, that people were messy and people weren't perfect and people had histories and people made mistakes. And for the most part, in the beginning, it was very positive and healthy. And then there was a very definitive fracture. And the fracture, from my experience, came when I received a call from Aaron saying, hey, I've got to get ahead of this. Let me tell you what's going on. And it's not a secret what he told me. He proceeded to go on a live and say the same stuff. Basically, that he had to go live. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he talked about his relationship. He talked about things that he had been accused of, sort of, by the board. And it made it seem like he wanted to live sort of an alternative lifestyle. And that the Aftermath board was very haunchy and conservative in their old Scientology values and their conservative values. And they kicked him off of the board because of his lifestyle choices. And I believed that for quite a while. And I operated off of that belief for quite a while. Let's see here. Right. So because I had put my nose where it didn't belong, I was kind of a part of that time. I was really concerned about what the Aftermath Foundation was doing based on what I was being told. And there were other things that happened. Other people came forward. It was kind of a mess. I called it a dumpster fire. I still stand by that, or a series of dumpster fires. But it was really rough for the community at that time, and there very much became an us and a them that still continues to this day. And it's crap. It's crap. I feel really badly on one hand that I contributed to that rift. At the time, I definitely was acting on what I thought to be true. And in hindsight, it was only true because it was told to me. And if I kind of look back through a different lens, more things make sense in a different way. I can interpret things differently. Anyway, during this time, the other piece of information that was given was, hey, the Aftermath Foundation has like a ton of cash sitting around that they have to spend. So everybody should apply. They did have a scholarship, a $10,000 college scholarship at that time that I applied for, or actually my kid applied for. He was a minor, so I mean, I signed it, and he did receive, not the funds, approval. Meanwhile, things are getting worse and worse, I think. And the Aftermath Foundation put a woman on the board named Stephanie Hutchinson. And she was the worst, you guys. And she, lo and behold, was making blog posts and criticizing Aaron and Jenna, who had recently come out and was protesting. And I actually I definitely defended both of them. And then I went so far even actually as to say, oh, I don't think we can accept this scholarship foundation money because this is like really bad. I don't want my son, especially once he turns 18, becoming fodder for some sort of online, I don't know. I just didn't want Stephanie Hutchinson to feel like she had some kind of ownership over him because she had contributed or the foundation had contributed to his education. I don't know. So, and at that time, when I did bring it up, I will say Aaron said, don't worry. I have a really wealthy friend and we'll make sure that you get that money back. Now, again, yes, that is helpful of him. I'm not the only person that he tried to fundraise for or the only person he told about getting help, like that there was a lot of money at the foundation. Everybody heard that. And yes, Aaron was a huge part of letting people know, I literally told him to shut the fuck up at one point because he was like, you can make $20,000. I made this much last month on YouTube, whatever. And for me, I'm trying anyway to stay in that creative, authentic. I'm not a news reporter or anything like that. So I try to bring my content as my interpretation of current events, which is different than maybe some others. And so everybody had their own approach. I think really I don't think anybody really is. Anyway, okay, nope, zip, stop. So I'm looking at my notes, guys. Hold on. So I did give up the scholarship and I did receive the help through me and I also put up a dorm wish list for my kiddo. And I did receive help from the community. The reason I bring this up today is because it has been said that I need, that is because specifically of Aaron. And I just want to address that there was some help in the community, but there was also stuff happening behind the scenes that I thought was really just friend oriented. Like, don't worry, we'll help you make up this money if you publicly give it up, if you decide to do that with the Aftermath and, give up the thing. So I just wanted to speak to that quickly. And also just say that, and I'll say it again, that I will never apologize for my son going to college. I will never apologize for asking for help to get my kid to college. I don't have parents anymore. I don't have a brother anymore. I don't have extended family. I don't have, he doesn't have, any inheritance or any family, anything to fall back on like that. So I won't apologize for asking for help and then funneling help to my son to get him the best opportunity he could possibly get in life. Now, during that time, a bunch of other crap happened that I'm not talking about and I haven't publicly talked about. I believe I was heavily fair gamed. It was a whole shit show. I had a mentee be. So it was a rough year that year. But I'm jumping around and I'm trying not to, but I do that anyway. So let me get back to where we were. Okay. So after the foundation broke up, a new foundation was formed. It was called the SPTV Foundation. Thank you so much. Honestly, I would resend dorm supplies today. I have no regrets on any of the money that I donated to his education. And thank you. Thank you for saying that. Thank you so much for saying that. That actually means an incredible, so much to me. Yeah, thank you. So I know a piece of my mind's making fun of me on here because Liz is working to keep herself on track. It's going to be the hardest part of this live is just me being on track. Okay. So the SPTV Foundation. The reason I bring this up today is that there's this assertion, there's this thing that's been said a few times about me. And it's my fault for not clarifying previously, is the deal. So there's this idea that was stated. I'm laughing. I'm trying not to laugh because it's silly. That when I resigned from the SPTV Foundation, I should back up. So I was asked to be on the SPTV Foundation. I don't remember what year it was, but I was at a Christmas party. And it's funny too, because I was like, oh, yeah. And he told me Aaron called, I can't remember, emailed. And must have emailed or texted because I wouldn't have answered at a party. And I was like, oh, I got asked to be on this foundation. My husband says, don't do it. I was like, oh, but I did it. And I don't want to go into it too much, but this idea that I quit the foundation, I quit being a board member of the foundation because I didn't get invited to a birthday party, has been asserted several times. And I know it's kind of silly, and it feels almost silly that someone would talk shit about me for an hour and 38 minutes and that's the thing that I'm talking about, but it's come up a few times. So I just want to be really clear about it. And I'm actually going to read you something in a second. I did not quit the SPTV Foundation as a board member because I was not invited to a birthday party. I did not quit for any other reason that I felt that I could no longer be supportive of what I saw happening in the leadership of the SPTV Foundation. That includes Jenna Miscavige, and that includes Aaron Smith-Levin. I'm going to read you guys something. No, first I'm going to go back. See, I'm getting off track. I didn't keep good enough notes about this. I wrote one thing. I'm not the only Liz in the ex-Scientology space. If you Google a person named Liz Ferris, you will find another Liz who has come up. Now, Liz Ferris you have to clarify, George. I'm not sure what you mean. Yes, thank you for acknowledging my pretty picture. So okay, sorry, hold on. I'm seeing the chat and it's getting me distracted because George says I was very clear at that time. And I'm not quite sure what you mean, but that's fine. You can clarify. There's a little delay in the chat. Yeah. Anyway, So let me pull up my email. There was a woman named Liz Ferris. Oh, clear that I didn't quit. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Well, I've never actually told you guys this part, really. I mean, I know that I said I was not happy with the leadership, but let me read you something. Hold on, guys. You're just going to have to give me a second to pull this up on my phone. I can't remember which email it was in, so hold on. I should have pulled this up before, but I think I'm in the wrong email address. It's going to take me a minute, guys. I'll hold your horses because I can't remember. Found it. Okay. Sorry that took me a minute, guys. All right. So this ex-Scientologist, Liz Ferris, received ongoing funds from the SPTV Foundation. She said this publicly. This has been stated publicly. That's nobody's secret. One night I'm in the bathtub. I forget when it was. You guys might know the dates. When I'm in the bathtub, minding my own business, and I'm seeing Liz Ferris and another ex-Scientologist girl named Lara Anderson, Lara FM. And they're talking about Scientology childhood. They're talking about stuff. And Aaron Smith-Levin goes onto the live, acting in capacity as the SPTV Foundation director, president, owner. And he gets into like this weird debate. He's yelling at them. He's calling Liz Ferris a liar. It's a very uncomfortable situation for everybody on the live. And thank you, Lisa. I love that. I love that you said that. So I'm uncomfortable. I'm watching this knowing that I am a representative of this board as well. And I don't want to be represented by angry live streaming vitriol. Like I don't like that. However, I do believe in freedom of speech, and there always was this weird kind of blurred line between the YouTube, like the YouTube and the foundation. I never totally understood where one started and one stopped. So it was a little wishy-washy to me at the time. However, the problem then became later when Liz Ferris requested her ongoing funds or her, she made a request and I was forwarded the request to vote on. I recused myself from the vote. I was then responded to and told, you cannot just recuse yourself. You have to state why. So this is what I said. Hi, I am choosing to recuse myself from this vote for several reasons. My own lack of expertise. I am neither qualified nor in a position to determine the appropriate level or duration of care that Liz Ferris requires, nor can I assess which type of therapy would be most beneficial to her recovery. These decisions should be made by professionals with the proper knowledge, insight, and expertise. Absence of financial information. I have no insight into her financial information, and I have not seen any relevant documentation regarding her finances. So you can imagine what this is in response to. I'm not going to read the request, but I am responding to the fact that I'm not going to vote on what therapy somebody can get. I'm not going to vote on somebody make a decision on their finances when that's not part of the deal. If such guidelines are to be introduced, I believe they should be clearly established before any new applications are reviewed, allowing the opportunity to reapply under the updated rules. Uncertainty regarding allegations. If there's uncertainty, if there is concern among the board that we have been misled, I believe it is inappropriate to approve future funding. However, without clear evidence of fraud or any wrongdoing, it's impossible for me to make an informed judgment. I have no access to the information necessary to confirm or dispute these concerns. I find it unethical to proceed with a vote based on unverified claims. I'm recusing myself from this vote as I do not possess the facts, documentation, or professional expertise needed to responsibly weigh in on this matter. Without such information, I cannot, in good conscience, participate in a decision regarding somebody else's mental health care or her financial eligibility for further support. Approving an arbitrary number of months does not seem to deal with the issue. So you can read between the lines about that recusing the vote, but like I said in the email, and like I'm saying now, ex-Scientologists without any training, skill, consultation, committee, ethical shouldn't be making decisions on what other people have access to, especially when you get really nitpicky like that. It makes me very uncomfortable. I was extremely uncomfortable. And I definitely got bitched at. See what's next in that chain. Hold on. Then there's this one. It says, I've chosen to recuse myself from the therapy vote for the following reasons. I'm not qualified, no information. I think I did read this. It was just highlighted differently. I don't want to read the rest of these, but I will tell you that another board member's resignation came pretty soon after that. So anyway. Does that sound like a birthday party problem to you? And in whose interest would it be to minimize such a concern to she's petty, she didn't get invited to a birthday party? So I just wanted to be real clear about that. Really, really, really clear. Because in the past, I said, oh, I was going to ask questions. I was going to do this or whatever. No, and honestly, I will say one more thing about the foundation. All of my concerns and fears were so justified when Aaron Smith-Levin on his live said, yes, it is. He said it is his foundation. It is his. He started it. He's the president. It is his. And I'm not really sure if any nonprofits really work that way. That's really not up to me, but that's not something that I can stand behind. Because if I'm going to be in that position, I need to have full faith, or at least like 80% faith in my leadership, right? I need to know that I'm safe turning on my bathtub and having a bath. And in the middle of some night, the president's not going to go on and start berating someone who he feels has done the organization wrong. That made me uncomfortable. And I spoke as eloquently and as clearly and as directly as I possibly could on that issue to the board. And they know. And they know. And other people who have gotten off the board, I'm not sure how many people are left. It started with like 11. Many other people have resigned. And I have received emails, and I know that other people have received emails. I have not been able to verify them like to a legal level, but I have gotten personal emails, even recently, saying that someone tried to get help from the SPTV Foundation for an ex-Scientologist, and they were told no based on Aaron Smith-Levin's opinion of that person. And that is exactly the situation that I did not want to be a part of. Thank you, Diana. In college, like I had never heard of a rubric before I went to a proper school, not a Scientology school. There's nothing as a rubric in non-Scientology school. And maybe not in other schools. I don't really know. But a rubric is like a guideline of almost like assigning value or points to something or something to very specifically follow. Here, let me just look it up. We don't want anyone to go buy go get an MU. That's just a silly Scientology joke. Rubric definition. A rubric is a scoring guide or set of instructions used to assess assignment, projects, or performances clearly by defining expectations and quality standards. Thank you, Tracy. So, to me, a rubric was so important in this situation, right? Because ex-Scientology is a small world. You might have somebody who literally abused you in the C organization come to you and ask you for help. You may actually be faced with the idea of helping somebody who has dirt on you or something like this. And so, especially when you have 11 board members, like, can we not have a rubric where that way it's not a popularity contest? We're assigning by need, we're assigning by some other set of standards that has already been established. I'm not saying that I need to be the one to come up with them either, but I mentioned this several times, and my worst fear came true when I saw this happening on Liz and Laura's live. I saw them being denigrated. I saw the fact that they had asked for help, or were like Liz had asked for help, being turned against her in a way that I felt was designed to hurt her, to make her stop, to make her shut up. And I recognize that. Thank you so much, Trace. I recognize that from Scientology, you know, and in it, and I feel it in my body. And I know how easy it is, because I do it too, to go back into some of those patterns and those ways. But I also know enough to know that when I see it happening, why it makes me extra like I can't do it. I can't be a part of it. Like I'm not that one. Maybe I don't get along well with others. Maybe I have a low stamina for bullshit. I don't know, but it's a voluntary position, first of all. And I was on that board because I genuinely wanted there to be help. And I know that there has been help. I'm not trying to deny that. And I guess that was part of the thing. Like, Liz never did anything. Liz didn't do anything. Liz only offered to check email twice a week. Well, that would have been 2 days off that y'all wouldn't have to worry about the email. That would have been 2 days that I could have had response time in the afternoon, that if anybody reached out for help via email, it would have been a very short turnaround within hours on those days. And those could have been days that other people didn't have to do it, you know? And so my help was also rejected, and that's okay. Like, if you want to do it all the time, you can do it. I'm not going to twist your arm. But yeah, that's what happened there. And I honestly didn't read the email previously, and I didn't really want to get into all this, like the very specifics. I was clear. I don't support the leadership. Funny enough, the person who was the most upset with me was Jenna, or maybe the one that was most verbal about it. Maybe that's the case. And I'll just be very simple and say, they don't think like me, and I don't think like them. I don't think in the same way that Erin thinks, and I do not process information in the same way that Jenna does. I am my own person. I have my own experience. I have my own thoughts and ideas. And I was shocked at the response. And then I pretty much quit right after that because I was like, yeah, I don't need this. I don't need this. Okay, I don't think I'm going to talk about the foundation anymore. If any of you have any questions about what I said or anything, put them in and I will do my best to answer them. If it is just a comment that, you're agreeing with me and like saying, I'm not going to put any comments up here that are going to further any like antagonism, but if you have questions or anything, I am happy to answer them. So, okay. Let's see here. All right. There's something else I really want to talk about. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay. I'm going to plug in my computer real quick, guys. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Trace. That's kind. Style. Public schools always need a rubric or checklist to help them assign benefits or grants for special needs students because they must report or be audited by a higher official level. Exactly. And this also means that people's personal bias then can't come into play, and favoritism and nepotism. Yeah. Is it? I am. I do. I bump my mic a lot because I'm a wiggly ass person. Sorry. I will try not to. Let me sit back here further. My bad, you guys. Sorry, Donna. I'm a wiggly girl and I do keep bumping it, and I will try not to bump my microphone any further. How about that? How about that? How about that? Okay. So the next thing I have to say is a little bit trickier to talk about because I don't want to give any fodder for not even future attacks on me. I expect future attacks on me. The level that these people have hit is pretty wild. And let's not forget that in her own admission, Jenna has encouraged Erin, herself, and others to put their so-called drama, or I think they called it smack talk, behind a paywall. And that way, when people come to their channels, they see Scientology news, they see them as an activist, and then they have all their crap behind a paywall, and then they make money off that. For the record, I actually never criticized that. A lot of the criticisms that were against me, I think, were conflated with ones from Nora. Nora, you guys probably all know, but is another. Yes, I do. Peace of my mind. Yes. No need to diagnose me with ADHD over here. We all know, bro. Okay. In fact, stop distracting me. Just kidding. What? So you did distract me. Where was I? Oh. Behind the paywall. And Nora. So there's another creator, that the Raging Buddha and the Raging Buddha official on here on YouTube, on Kick, on Rumble, on Substack. And she's a very good friend of mine. And she's been very outspoken about Aaron and Jenna for quite a while. And I do understand on one hand why people might conflate us, why they might say, oh, Liz is this because Nora said this, or something along these lines. I totally get that. And if I had the hugest problem with Nora, obviously I wouldn't be her friend. So there is clearly a condoning on my part. Does that mean that I condone everything she does? No. Does she condone everything I do? No. Do I tell her, hey, like, I think that's not going to work out. Like, I think that's stupid, or I think maybe you should reconsider that. Yeah, totally. Does she listen to me? No. Should she? No. So there were a lot of things said that I don't know who they were talking about, honestly. Maybe it was me. I'm not going to sit here and defend like I did this, I didn't do this, I did this, I didn't do that. But I will say that this assertion that I have somehow made a circus, I think this is shaking. I think what's happening is that I am so wiggly that my chair is shaking the ground, which is shaking the table that the mic is on. I don't like that, guys. I need some sturdiness around here. Thank you, Quirkalopagus. That's very kind of you to say that speaking my mind is 100% allowed. Thank you. That's a good reminder. So, excuse me. Do I tell Nora what to say on her channel? No. Do I also tell my friends how to do their jobs when they go to work? No. Do I tell Nora what my heart feels and what I hope for her and what I hope for us and the community and life? Yes. I do think that part of the goal, part of the plan in the live that I'm reacting to that Jenna and Aaron did, I think a lot of it was meant to triangulate, which is another word for like, well, not that word, but turn me and Nora against each other, where I would sit here and I would be like, oh, I didn't do these bad things that you're accusing someone of doing. Nora did them. Let's talk. What did Nora do? What are you so mad about? And do you remember what I said to you, Aaron? I think the last time I called you? Do you remember? You had what you said was the best conversation with Nora you had in your life. Do you remember that? And I said, bro, she was on anesthesia. Straight up. I'm laughing because it's ridiculous. It's like, that was the best conversation I've ever had. Like, she wasn't awake. What? But when you're not awake, you can't argue. So I guess I'll give him that. Anyways, I'm getting in the weeds here, guys. Got to be my story to tell. I made the call and I said, I forget exactly what I said, but basically something like, you really hurt Nora's feelings. The way that went down, like that really hurt her. I don't know if you know this, but she was on anesthesia when you talked. I think you might want to call her. You might want to figure something out. And obviously that didn't happen, but I remember when the fracture between the two of them happened. And I can't say I didn't warn you or didn't see it coming, because if someone had done that to me that I had considered a friend, if someone had coerced me and taken advantage of me in my vulnerable state like that, and then used that later against me to counteract and gaslight my own words, I would be very upset. And so I understand that feeling. And Yeah, she was, I'm not joking or exaggerating when I say that she was on anesthesia. She had had a surgical procedure done. And the last thing that you need in that is to be, barked at and told what to do and all these different things. I don't know. I think the person who could best speak to that conversation would be Nora's wife, because Nora's wife was there the entire time and basically at the end was like, get off the fucking phone. This is not okay. This is not okay. And I did try to communicate that later. And you remember that call, Erin, because I was like, I think this is like, I think you really hurt her feeling. I think that you might want to call her and sort this out, because this is not good. Someone in the chat, yeah, Anne, that was actually one of the lowest points that he had sunk. Oh man, it was rough. And you know what? To her credit, I was still friendly with him and with Jenna and with other people after that had happened to Nora. And I don't want to put words in her mouth, but I will say that if I had been in her position, it would have been really hard for me to have compassion and still feel like those people around me were my friends when they were talking to somebody who would, take advantage of me at one of my lowest moments. Anne says it's actually assault in a weird way. Yes, I felt this way, and it took me a while to figure out if I was feeling as if I was in my extra feels about it, because in Scientology, we are taught that anything that happens when you are in pain or unconscious, or any level of pain or unconsciousness, so that would be under, under the after effects of anesthesia from a surgical operation, that during that time, you are incredibly vulnerable, because the words that you are being told and you are hearing are recorded into a different part of your mind that later will be accessed through trauma, through triggering, and it will essentially work against you. And I still haven't, you guys are normal out there. And Anne, I don't think we're a Scientologist, right? And you're saying it was an assault. I felt especially as if it was an assault, because it's not just when somebody's tired or they're just kind of out of it. It's like they're actually on a hospital grade drug, coming off of it, and to be berated or insulted or yelled at or coerced verbally during that time. It just felt particularly egregious based on my Scientology feels. And I'm not totally sure that that's, I'm not saying that I'm still a Scientologist and I believe that, but it definitely came to mind. So, where was I? We were talking about Nora. Oh, right. I hadn't even got to the other part. Okay. So that happened. I'm trying to make sure, I'm not trying to be careful, but I want to make sure that I'm clear and that I'm calm and that I'm honest and that I'm saying what I want to say and offering the information that I have for you guys, not in a defensive type response. I'm not sure if I'm nailing that or not, but this is why I'm being slow and careful today. Careful, that's the wrong word. Mindful. That's a good word. So, right. One of the biggest accusations that has been levied against me and has been used as an excuse or a justification to then retaliate against me, lie on me, lie about my family, et cetera, is the repeated concept that Liz Gale wants to make a, quote, circuits. circus. Did I say circuit? Well, that was weird. Start over. The assertion has been made that I, Liz Gale, have made and intend on making and continue to make and have made a quote circus out of Aaron Smith-Levin and Jenna Miscavige's relationship. And I would like to speak to that. My experience with Jenna Miscavige and Aaron Smith-Levin's relationship is that it's already a circus. I am literally no part of that circus. Anything that I have said, which I'll talk about in a second here, has actually been in response to public assertions made by either Jenna Miscavige or Aaron Smith-Levin. So I'm going to tell you guys this timeline, not with any intention of spilling anybody's tea. I'm going to tell you the assertion, this timeline, based on my experience. And you can decide. I don't really give a shit. You can decide whatever you want. I'm just sort of saying where it's at. Because these assertions made of me are kind of diminishing my values. And that's what I'd like to respond to, right? Okay, so I had found out early on, far before it was announced, that Aaron and Jenna were a couple. Great, good for you guys. None of my business. Why would they asked, I'm sure they told many people and told everybody, asked people to please be quiet about it. And as far as I know, everybody was. Good. I went to LA. Whoa. Actually, was that? Yes. So I think I'm going to get my timeline right here. And again, Aaron helped me. Here's the thing. I was on TikTok, right? So one night, I think it was a night, I go on Aaron's channel and I'm like, Aaron, it's wild. They are protesting on TikTok over here. It's crazy. You got to get over here. Rolling Stone did an article. I was quoted in it. Like, it was a whole thing. So I'm taking credit for that. That was sort of a silly thing for me to add, but I was excited. I was involved with the TikTok. I mean, just online. I didn't go to the protest, but I was involved online. Like I said, I became sort of part of the story. I had some viral videos. Rolling Stone did an article on the Heartthrob Sebastian. I was quoted in it. It was a thing. It was a thing that was going on TikTok. So, Aaron decides to go to LA, and I'm having FOMO like a mother. And he puts on his channel, please help Liz go to LA. And I did get like $800, and I got to fly to LA. And I stayed at a friend's house, and it was wonderful. And I'm very grateful for that experience. Very, very grateful. While we were there, the first day that we arrived, we went down to the test center. And I haven't spoken about this actually, really, especially honestly, because I wondered if there would be a court case that I would be called to testify in. And I didn't, I don't want to say anything. But that obviously isn't the case. Yes. And I did sing karaoke on the street outside the test center. So that was fun. That was a very healing experience. See, I know my microphone is making a sound. I will work on this for the future, guys. I apologize. I'll try and clean it up for replay. So we get there and we pretty much meet up, do whatever. And we get to the test center, and we were not there very long when Patrick, this man who lives locally, he has a dog, I think a pit bull breed. And he had previously used the dog to attackish, harass, mess with, I think one guy got bit, the protesters. The running theory was that he was a local man, probably hired by Scientology to cause drama. I don't think that was ever substantiated. Though later, when he did go to court, I do believe Scientology paid his bills. So there was some kind of connection. This is my recollection. I might be wrong about that, but I know that Scientology got involved with some court cases, at least against protesters paying their legal fees. So, yeah, people called me Boots after that. So, I happened to be very close when Aaron got into a physical altercation with this man, or this man got into a physical altercation with Aaron. I don't know how you want to exactly call it. And I happened to be the only person who got it on camera at the time. And I'm not saying it was Aaron's fault at all. I will say that I saw the man go by, and people in my live feed chat said, follow him, go up to him. And I was like, I'm not that crazy. And right after that, Aaron went ahead. And I laughed like, well, Aaron is that crazy. It's kind of a joke. There was an altercation. The man hit Aaron. The dog was barking. It was a whole thing. The police were called. Flash forward, pretty soon, this is not an exaggeration, you guys, there were Hollywood Boulevard, an entire block was closed down. 2 LA helicopters were circling us. There were like 6 or 7 police cars. And it came out that they're basically trying to do crowd control, because they said, well, we're going to arrest both of you. Okay. So that's where I'm going to stop the story. You guys all know what happened. Not my story to tell after that. But what happened for me in that moment is I realized, well, for one, I'm a big girl. Nobody has to take care of me. I'm not going into the big city expecting somebody to take care of me, right? Like, that's not me. But I did notice a blatant disregard for my well-being and others' well-being, for the pure intention, what I perceive the pure intention to be clicks and views and aggressive interaction. And that's, I mean, I'm not the law, but that's what I saw. And that was something I kind of mentally locked away. So I ended up going to LA a couple times. That's great. That's fantastic. And I got invited to Florida, and I got flown out there. I mean, I know you guys would be like, she probably sounds so ungrateful. No, I thought these people were my friends. I thought this was my tribe. I thought this was my crew. Yeah, I was like, Aaron's a little wild with the protesting. I don't need my friends to be perfect. I honestly was like, he's a big personality. He makes big mistakes. He learns big lessons. That's fine. I don't have preconceived notions about expectations that I put on people and then punish them for not being a way that I want them to be. But I do take note when someone has no regard for my physical safety. Like, I have to take note of that. So, it turned out to be a great weekend. It turned out to work in his favor. The clicks and views worked. He got a bunch of bail money. Like, I don't know exactly what happened, but it didn't end up poorly for him. And that was another thing that kind of tucked away at the back of my mind. Like, wow, if you really do want to be successful at this YouTube thing, you probably do have to do things like that, to get those clicks and views. You got to get in people's faces. You got to be a certain way to keep that high energy flowing, right? So, but I locked it away in my mind. Then there was a trip to Florida. Oh boy. And this is why I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because okay, I'll just keep telling the story and then I'll tell you. So at this point, I had even told Jenna several times, like, I'm not really sure why I'm being invited to this. I don't really know a lot of these people who are coming. I've never met them before. But it's like, oh, no, you're cool. I think it's because at that time they thought I was kind of hot shit on TikTok. I think that's what it was. But they were like, yeah, you're fine, come. And it was great. Honestly, they treated me so nicely. I had a wonderful bed set up for me. Aaron's friends brought an air mattress. It was a great time. I have zero complaints on the hospitality. I'm incredibly grateful for what I got to experience. I'll tell you that. The problem is that about, I want to say it was 2 days before the trip to Florida, a woman named Lindsay came out on YouTube. And I'm definitely going to just be really honest here. So it is what it is. Okay. So Lindsay came on to YouTube. She was having a very hard time. She was crying. She was live streaming a lot. And during that first time, she said that she had dated Aaron for, I think she said 4 years. And that she recently had found out that he had lied to her a bunch and cheated on her, whatever. Again, her story to tell. The problem is this alerted Jenna to the fact that Aaron had cheated on her. And as one finds in these situations, just putting myself in her place, it was devastating and embarrassing and upsetting, particularly because this upcoming trip, she had been slated to be there. And it was actually kind of a big deal that she was going to be there, especially after all this stuff had come out. And I mean, I literally, honestly, honest to God, and I don't know if Jenna will lie about this or not, but honest to God, I was like, Jenna, I'm not going to go if you don't go. Like, I'm not going to go to your cheating boyfriend's house if that you guys break up. Now, looking back, I certainly hope I didn't pressure her in any capacity. I mean, I was happy, honestly. I mean, I wanted to go, but I was resolved not to go. Like, and I talked it over with my husband, and I don't even know what I told her. If I try not to put it on her. Maybe she has those text messages, or, I mean, we were talking on the phone a bunch too, but that was my plan. 100%. 100%. It had even gotten to the point, I think I even texted her because we were supposed to go on some sunrise boat tour thing where it was like something along the lines where I was just like, if, I don't even want to be in the same picture as Aaron on a sunrise boat. Like, I don't want that association. Granted, we were, that's not an association that anybody in our friend group would ever have made, but you know how it goes. I was like, I don't want to be any way associated with someone who did you dirty. But she decided she's going to go anyway. I think she was going to go anyway the whole time, but she decided she's going to go. And if anybody recalls, there was a live stream where Aaron was supposed to pick her up at the airport. I was there. I did a terrible cartwheel. And I think everybody was surprised. Everybody thinks I'm like some tiny girl, but I'm like 5'10" and a half. And I mean, I'm bigger than I was. So, I mean, got me some D's up here, So I did a cartwheel just to show I still got it. We waited for Jenna. And if anybody recalls that stream, Jenna was extremely important. Important. That's a weird thing to say. She was pissed. And I get that. If I can put myself in the position of someone who, I'm going out of my way to give you a chance and not make you look stupid by flying across the country to your cheating ass, and you're going to welcome me on a live stream when you pick me up. How about you put your phone down? You have flowers for me. You tip me back like one of those 1940 kisses, and everybody sees that I am valuable. But that didn't happen. That's what that at the time is what I would have wanted for my friend at the time, if that makes sense. Anyway, long story short, several aspects of that trip were fantastic. The people were very kind. Aaron has some fantastic friends. I did have a couple of hard conversations with Aaron that I'm not going to repeat here. but I came to the conclusion that there was some negligence, some lack of responsibility that I felt was disappointing. Yes, it was the thing for Tony, right? And that's the other thing. Another board member and her partner were there, and he has since passed away from cancer. And so there was this boat trip, like I had mentioned. Like there were so many beautiful moments that I'm sad I won't be a part of those moments with those people. Like it was beautiful. It really was. And I think that I was a duck, like what is it, a duck out of water? Or like I was kind of the odd one out, because if you look at history, those people kept going on to continue to make bonds, and I just felt more and more uncomfortable with the direction of it. Thank you. Thank you. But I'm no stranger to tumultuous relationships. I'm a big girl that's lived in the real world. I have had a 20-year relationship that has not always been perfect. And I will say that I certainly don't feel like I live in a glass house, because if if you guys want to hear about all my relationship woes, like we can do that. But that never really seemed to be what my channel was about or what I was about or anything. So I just, haven't really. Yeah, so there's that. Yeah, side hugs. Side hugs are the worst. That's for an acquaintance. But so then life marches on, right? It's better when people get together. Like I said, we had these really great experiences. People changed their schedule for me. The thing was, when the barbecue was canceled due to their fighting, Aaron's friend took me and Kelly to the beach. They're fantastic people. I soaked up some sun. I'm from Oregon. I'm like, what is that? Great time. And meanwhile, Jenna and Aaron continued their relationship. Okay, cool. And there was a time even when we fought, and then I was like, guys, I think I'd like to repair our relationship. I just didn't quite know. Actually, that was after I left the SPTV Foundation. I'm just like, I don't want to be enemies with these people. And I don't want to be judging people for their mess when I come up here and say, hey, I'm messy and healing is messy. That seems counterproductive. That seems hypocritical and not really authentic or human. And so making these mistakes, I'm, friends oh, you're going to be messy, go back with him, whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. Because at that point, it's like, he said, she said, cheating, this or that. I don't know, dude. I really don't fucking know. I think at one point I was on a phone call with Jenna and she's like, he's acting like an asshole. And I was just like, you're with an asshole. Shocker. You picked an asshole. Don't be surprised when he's an asshole. I don't know what you want me to say. That conversation happened. and again, I have had tons of girlfriends. They love dating an asshole. I don't know. It's this toxic masculinity thing. I don't know. My husband has a tractor and a truck. I get it, but anyway, I'm getting in the weeds again, guys. Exactly. See, if my relationship with my Roomba has anything to say, then you guys should all just be like, she's full of crap. Just kidding. Here's the other thing, and I don't want to put myself above other people. I was an outsider to a very cliquey group, and I did also happen to be one of the only people who has gone on to get a formal college education about human development, psychology, and sociology. I'm not trying to put myself above anybody. I'm not trying to make myself sound cool. I'm just saying that there is a very strong reason that I don't operate or think in that same way. I have chosen to adopt other ways to operate in the world that I have learned. So take that for what it is. Thank you so much, Quirk. Appreciate you. I'm trying not to touch this because when I touch this, it makes my microphone shake. Okay. So that was then. That was, I think, April. Come summer, broke my arm. Wait, can you guys see that scar? Right? Broke my arm. I have 7 screws in my arm. I had to have surgery. It totally changed like a lot of my perspective, to be honest. And really kind of made me realize like I'm starting to get older. I have a lot I want to do. What can my body do? What am I going to do? You know, these like things that happen as one ages with or without grace. Yeah. So then comes New Year's. New Year's. And before New Year's too, other things happened. There's there were other women that came forward and who there was other videos that came forward involving Aaron. Like, I don't want to create a mystery here, so I'm just going to be very honest and very simple. There's one where he's calling a girl a "see you next Tuesday" outside a bar. There's body cam footage, and it says something along the lines of the cops like, yeah, her boyfriend punched you or hit you or pushed you. I don't know the whole thing, but basically he was calling a girl names at the bar. The boyfriend of the girl was like, shut the fuck up. And I'm not sure if he punched him or pushed him. Aaron calls the cops. Okay. There's footage of this online. He says the woman he called the name, that's Sky Dayton. That is, if I'm recalling correctly, Hulk Hogan's ex. And the cop's like, she says that you're stalking her. And he goes, I'm not stalking her. I just sent her a bunch of Facebook messages. And the cop said, well, why? And she said, because she's hot. Okay. Okie dokie. I don't know what everybody else hears when somebody says that or in that situation, but I heard I have a right to this woman. I have a right to inside of her bubble because I find her attractive. I'm not sure everybody else heard that. That's what I heard. Not a big fan. However, even after that, and even after there was another footage of an altercation that happened in Los Angeles, this is all online, guys. I didn't put them out. I'm not even really trying to rehash them. I just don't want to leave a mystery where I'm like, there's all this stuff online about Aaron. I'm just being very clear here. What I saw was body cam footage. I saw footage of him throwing a woman off of his back, a woman that he had some sort of romantic relationship with and some sort of physical altercation with. It was a lot of he said, she said, but what did end up happening was footage came out. Aaron did not deny that this was him in the footage. The footage is of him throwing the girl off of his back because she's trying to, I guess, get him. She's itty bitty. He's pretty big. She hits the wall. He runs away. And then there are some accompanying photos later with like a gash on her head. So, is it Law and Order-ish? Am I just like on a weird sound today? I never do a good audio check. Anyway, thank you, Shar from McMinnville. Let's hang out sometime. Okay, so what came out after that was like, oh, what's the most famous thing that can be said? That bitch was crazy, right? That's always the line. Don't get me wrong. I'm a girl's girl, but I recognize a crazy girl and I do understand. And at that time I was like, I don't know, she's chasing him, jumping on his back. He says that I kind of thought maybe she was like a honeypot, trying like OSA, which is Scientology's dirty operations, to like trick him into this situation, to use it against him in the future. I don't really know. It does? Oh no, that's so embarrassing. I'm probably on some strange setting, but I'm not going to change it now. Oh well. You find it funny? Well, good. So that happened. I went off the board. But I noticed that like I couldn't really be friends with Jenna in the situations that I was. And I felt sad for that because I honestly like always felt that we were really fast friends and really good friends. And I felt, sad. I felt like I lost my tribe kind of when I left the SPTV Foundation. But anyway, so we kind of were friends again. And then, but not great friends, just kind of cautious friends. And then I think it was honestly the 1st of January. It was like the new year, 2025. 2 videos come out. They say Aaron Smith-Levin is a monster. That was like the actual title. And I think he cheated on me 3 times, something like this. And they were each about, I don't know, between like 12 and 20 minutes long. And Jenna said, I'm making these videos so that I never go back to him, so that he can never trick me back to him. And she said a lot of stuff. It was her story to tell, but it was alarming. It was concerning. And there were a lot of us who were like, okay, you're saying your piece. Awesome. The thing is that over time, I had really started to notice behavior patterns in the person I thought my friend, Jenna, with this ex-girlfriend of Aaron's, Lindsay. So Lindsay had come out. She had said all this stuff. She was acting a particular way. She was saying, he did this. This is how he did it. This is how it happened. And she was obviously like devastated and confused. And so even before that, I had noticed some similar behaviors. And that early on when Lindsay came out, I did watch almost everything in every one of her lives. I did. She dropped tea and information that was crucial to understanding the situation. In fact, I think Jenna found out a lot about her relationship and things that had been done from Lindsay's lives. So if you guys want to sit here and say you weren't watching or I did something wrong by watching, you can say that, but I don't believe it. Later, and you know this is true, Jenna, because you even asked me one time, am I acting like Lindsay? And you were. You absolutely were. And the reason that I think that is the case is because there is a certain place that a human being gets to when they've endured so much gaslighting and so much betrayal and so much crap that reactionary position did feel very similar. And I was very curious. And I also had known in the background that this was like some ongoing situation with you and her. And there was some kind of, I'm not really sure what was happening. There were also OSA trolls involved. I don't really know. I don't really know everything that happened. I do know that Aaron in particular was encouraged to get a restraining order. And that never happened, never came to fruition. And later in some of those lives, Lindsay did assert that even while that he was still in her chat, that he was still calling, he was still texting her, still harassing her. So I honestly don't know what was going on. I don't really know. But I know that Lindsay took 2 weeks off. And when she came back on, I think this was before the cheating videos. She took 2 weeks off. She was doing great. She was doing other content. She was moving on with her life. She came back. She got sucked back into the drama, and she was doing another like really reactionary video. And checking on Theo. He got bit in the mouth by a squirrel. He's feeling better because his ears perked up when I said that, but he doesn't react the same way anymore. It's kind of sad. Okay, so where were we? So Lindsay had gone offline for 2 weeks, and she came back, and she was like kind of in a way, kind of talking, getting back into the conversation, the drama. And I was in her chat, and I said, I forget exactly what it was. Maybe somebody has a screenshot of it because everybody's keeping tabs on me. But I put a couple of hearts and I was just like, something like, you're doing great, leave it behind, move on, whatever. Because honestly, was in the best interest, in my thought, of both Jenna and Aaron to have Lindsay move on to some other topic. And Lindsay and I, maybe you're here, hey Lindsay, or you watch this on the replay. I wouldn't say we're friends. We're friendly. The first time I spoke to Lindsay, I was very clear with everybody in the group chat. I'm going to call Lindsay to get information about this Osabot. And I did. And I go, hey, Lindsay. And I think she was still going through some stuff. It was kind of a challenging conversation for me, but she was trying to talk shit about Jenna. And I was like, hey, I literally said, I'm going to stop you right there. I'm not the one to talk shit about Jenna to. I want to talk about this Osa troll. Yeah. So anyway, later when I was in Lindsay's chat and I said, hey, move on with your life. I immediately got a text message from Jenna and she was like, you're a snake. Lindsay's been trying to ruin my life, all these things. And I'm like, okay, I get why you think that. And if you are assuming that my intention is to somehow harm and sabotage you because you actually don't think very highly of me, then that would make sense. I thought that her and I had kind of resolved that because we had talked later and I did let her know. But I don't think I was as honest as I'm being here in the fact that no, Jenna, you were acting just like her. You both went through the exact same thing. And that made me very curious, made me more curious as to what Lindsay had to say, because every time she opened her mouth, you found out something new. And so did I. And I honestly just wanted to know what was going on so that I could support you in the best way that I felt like I could, because something was obviously happening. Something was obviously wrong, right? Every bitch is crazy. You notice that, right? Oh, she's a see you next Tuesday. She's hot, whatever. Oh, I'm going to throw this girl against the wall. She's crazy, whatever. Oh, my ex-girlfriend, Lindsay, she's crazy, whatever. Oh, Jenna, she's crazy, whatever. Do you not hello? So yes, I was very curious. And the more that I started to understand Lindsay's plight, I don't know. I'm not going to say I felt sorry for her, but I was rooting for her. I'm always rooting for the underdog. And she's made some horrible mistakes. Not on me, but I'm still rooting for her not to be stuck in the past. I'm still rooting for her to make something of herself and move on to new topics and new discoveries, which honestly she has. And she does her whole political thing, which is not even, again, I don't have the same political beliefs as Lindsay, yet I understand the value of her being in that world because, quite frankly, she's doing something with her voice that is more worthwhile than being upset about her ex, right? So that's where I came from with that. That's where I've come from. And then I even put Lindsay as one of my top trolls in the 2025 countdown. And she messaged me and she was honest with me about what she was going through at that time and how it made her feel that I had put her in this video. And I was like, oh, dang. And so I took her out. So the top 10 trolls go from 6 to 8. There's no 7. So anyway, let me check my notes because that's not all that happened. All right. Yeah. Okay. So then in January, the videos came out. He's a monster. He cheated on me all these times. He says all this stuff. Okay. Okie dokie. At that point, I honestly didn't say anything. Didn't say a word because like I said, you picked an asshole. You're with an asshole. I don't know what you want. I don't know what you want from me. Right. And I kind of got it too in a way because like I said, I've been with my husband for 20 years and all during his 20s, he was kind of an asshole sometimes too. And I was, what I was. So I was not trying to judge it or be holier than thou about it, but I was trying to just keep my distance. This is kind of a you guys thing at this point. Her videos racked up 250,000 views. I had nothing to do with that. I did not post those videos. I did not repost those videos. I don't even think I commented on those videos. my one little watch counted toward that. But it was rough. It was rough stuff to hear. And it further made me see similarities from all the other crazy bitches, you know what I mean? So, I was living life. I don't know if you guys know this, but like at that time I had, I think, 2 jobs. I have part-time jobs. I do subbing, substitute teaching. Like I was doing my thing. Let's see. Okay. Then there was like this birthday party, and Jenna and I were supposed to get together or whatever. And yes, you guys, so sue me. When the party that I had been, Jenna and I had been talking about getting together, and every single time, oh, Aaron this, I got to figure out when I'm going to go to Aaron's. I got to go to Aaron's. Aaron. Okay, but we're all going to meet up in Florida in September. Awesome, sounds good. That comes around. She doesn't reach out to me, nothing like that. So yes, my feelings were hurt, especially because I felt that I had compromised my own values to try to be what I thought was the best friend that I could be during a very hard time. Was I perfect? No, not at all. But was my intention to make a circus or harm anybody? No, it wasn't. But I was very curious because I felt that Jenna was on the same path that Lindsay had been on, but Lindsay was just 2 years ahead of her. Hey, Tampa B. So life goes on. You know, I like get another job. I think I'm going to get off YouTube. I'm doing my thing. Jenna gets on TikTok, blows up instantly. Was I jealous? I think there was definitely a part of me that was like, dang, that happened fast. And there is a part of me that does want that success for myself. That said, and honestly, you could probably check with any of my friends at the time that I talked to them about, like I'm a big girl, and I know that jealousy means that that person has something that I want. And I can either spend my energy trying to drag them down, or I can spend my energy going out and getting that thing for myself. That is how I view jealousy. That's how I view it. I am a preschool teacher at heart. When I am talking with young children, when you're talking about sharing things or, you know, taking turns, it does feel, it's like that jealousy. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's kind of like they have something I want. And so managing those feelings is so important. And so I'm not going to say that I wasn't envious of her blowing up on TikTok, but that doesn't mean that I took that energy and somehow wanted to sabotage or do something wrong for her. The assertion has been made that because I went into another person, Marilyn, I always get in trouble in the chats. And I said, TikTok doesn't know about Jenna and Aaron. And I don't know what's going to happen when they find out. First of all, that entire live was about Jenna and Aaron. So it's not like I was just talking out of place. Okay. She responded to it and she was like, yeah, I know. But then later it was some big threat. Who knows? I was actually concerned. I wasn't jealous. I was concerned that Jenna was tagging Aaron in every single one of her TikToks. And that has been interpreted somehow as I was jealous because I wasn't tagged in them. Actually, what it was is I was disappointed and saddened to see her blow up and take him with her when she didn't have to. After everything I had seen, I was so hopeful for her that she would gain a voice outside of YouTube, where her boyfriend is a larger creator than her, and she would get that power somewhere else, totally separate from him. But Apparently, that has somehow been misconstrued to I was jealous that I was not tagged with her. I do want to go back and say when I first interacted with Jenna, she told me she was not comfortable on camera and she didn't want to be made into some sort of show. And so I never filmed Jenna. I never asked or pressured her to make any content with me. I never even asked her for an interview. Because when my friend told me she wasn't comfortable with that, I didn't press it. I never expected to be tagged in Jenna's posts. I think I maybe tagged her in like one or two back when Stephanie Hutchinson was attacking everybody. But that's kind of where things stand. I was saddened. I was saddened to see that she was tagging Aaron because I thought one day you're not going to want that, Jenna. In my heart, I thought one day I really hope for you that you have a large platform that you can come out and speak on that is not dependent or so intrinsically tied with someone who I suspect may throw you under the bus in the future. But that's just perhaps my projection. Thank you. I appreciate that. So fast forward to when was it? Oh, was it like December? I think it was December. Because again, I was at another party. Except for this time I was working and I was hosting a very large luncheon with over like a caterer, like 100 people. A senator was there. We had awards to give out. Like it was a big deal. And that morning when I was getting ready, Nora texted me and she said, Liz, actually, wait, how did this happen? He was live. I think he was live. Or she put her videos up and then he went live. Yes, she put her videos back up. Nora was like, did you see Jenna's videos are back up? And I was like, whoa. And then I went to work. And then it turns out, I guess, Aaron went live. And they had broken up again. They had broken up, except for this time, it wasn't, oh, he said this, they said this, oh, is this and cheating and he's being an asshole. This time it was, and I don't care what you say, Jenna, okay? You told me that you were in a domestic violence situation. You said that to me via text. I was at work. You said, I need you to screen record what Aaron is saying. He is admitting to battery. The police are coming. I need your help. Please, please, please. Have I spoken about this before? No. Is it like my business to say what you're saying? Not really. But when you go on a live and you somehow say things like, oh, Liz is just looking, she's like banging on people's doors, just looking for some sort of domestic violence victims to insert herself in their life so that I somehow feel good about myself. Be so for real. Be so fucking for real. Really? Okay. My education and experience has made me a mandatory reporter of abuse. That means that when somebody crosses the line and it becomes abusive, I actually have been taught and trained to take it very seriously. When I go as a preschool teacher for many years, and like I said, I substitute, that means that I have to keep up on my education hours. And that means every 5 years, I have to take an abuse workshop. I hate it. I hate it because they show you pictures. It's awful. But you have to do it because you're a mandatory reporter, not just of children. So I am well aware of what qualifies as abuse. And like I said, the term DV was said to me. The fact that police were getting involved was said to me personally, and I was personally asked for help. Now, I was at this event and it was like the task was recording something like a screenshotting something, but it was very hard because they were both live and the timestamp I had given, whatever, this and that. And like I said, I'm working at an event. I'm the go-to. I'm the event person at the event. Okay. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to ask Nora for help because I know Nora was going live that day and she has pretty much all the equipment and the ways to do this far better than I. She was like, okay. So that happened. Then their videos were up. She was like, I'm never going back to him. Like, this is the worst. It's over. I'm calling the police. He's going to jail. He domestically abused me, etc. The next day, their videos are still up. The next day, I reacted on a TikTok live. The reason you guys can't see it is not because I'm being shady. It's because TikTok doesn't put lives up right afterward. They don't do that. So I have my phone. I've got my TV behind me. I'm reacting to his thing. At this point, I think I'm supporting my friend, right? Because finally she sees the light and she's like, this is it. The things that he said about her were so horrific that I honestly thought for sure, even if she tries to go back to him, he will not allow it because his ego must be so shattered that I don't even know how they could look at each other in the eye. But that's where I was wrong. That's a projection. That's a me thing. So I'm responding, right? And this is where on that one live that I did, and I think I have maybe 3 or 4 shorts. I made a circus. Of them. Okay, cool. Well, I'm a very powerful girl then, but that's fine. I made a circus of their relationship, right? Because I'm the one who made a 2.5-hour video, like slamming her, or vice versa. I'm the one that casually dropped like the word abortion at an hour and a half in. Like, are you for real? I'm the circus. Okay. All right. So it was I think it was the next day. Aaron goes live. And he says, oh, Liz, how dare she? First of all, he said, anybody can talk about my relationship except for her. I don't give her that permission. And I would just like to refute very clearly that you don't give me permission for shit. I don't need your permission to talk about anything. I'm actually speaking as eloquently and respectfully as I can right now, because one day I know that Jenna's going to leave your ass and we're going to go through this whole fucking thing again. And I'd rather take the high road now, or the highest road I can manage at the moment. So he says, Liz lives in a glass house. She has no business talking. Her husband cheats on her all the time, all over town, embarrasses her all the time, kind of insinuating some other like icky stuff. But then, I'm just going to say one little thing about it because there is an ongoing case, but then he broke the law and very clearly stated to punish me, and very clearly stated to cause dissent in my marriage, to, I think what he said was make my husband question me to the point where I have to beg him that it's my fault, and he will make me stop talking. And in order to accomplish this goal, Aaron Smith-Levin made up a sexual crime and accused my husband of doing said crime. And at that point, combined with the domestic violence. Oh, and don't forget the fact that Aaron had been like arrested for battery. He had 2 battery charges. Like, he had a trial to do, like a whole thing, guys. He was in jail for 22 days. I mean, gosh, what a winner, right? Take that one home to mom. So where was I? Yeah. So, yep. So Liz shouldn't throw stones because she lives in a glass house. I'm no stranger to shit talk on the internet, right? Like for real. But once you commit a crime, once you cross a certain line, there really isn't a verbal retaliation. That's when action has to be taken. And I left that up to my husband. That's happening, whatever. Bringing it back to the point, I texted Jenna and I said, because actually, I don't remember exactly how it went down, but in the course of this, it turns out that when Jenna had gotten mad at me previously, actually, I think she was mad at me specifically because, again, this is public knowledge and I feel empathetic toward it. But apparently, according to Aaron and Jenna, she was enduring an abortion by herself across the country, crying and alone. And unfortunately, and I am very regretful that happened to be the day. I was very unaware of what was happening, of course. Why would I know that? Why would I assume that? That was the day that I sent a breakup text to Jenna, which was like kicking her when she's down, which is like the least girl thing that I could ever do. And if I have one regret in this entire thing, it was the timing unknown of that text message. I'm so glad Tampa B man. So just so you know, Aaron also lied about this woman's husband because he was punishing her, and it ended up costing him, made him change some things in his life, and he got a promotion and a raise. Fantastic. I love that. I love that. So, but where was I? Oh, right. Of course, that horrible thing. So I regret that timing. Had I known that was happening, I would have not sent a breakup text to Jenna where I was just like, you suck. Don't call me. Anyway, there I go laughing because I'm so uncomfortable. That must have been incredibly horrible time. So he says that. So I'm like, Jenna, your ex-boyfriend's crazy. And he's saying that you told him a bunch of stuff. And she's like, well, when I got mad at you, or I did say a bunch of stuff to him. So pro tip for anybody in the audience, whatever you text to either one of them, it's just communal information, at least from my personal experience. So you can imagine things that I had said over the years, like about my relationship to her, to try not, to be like, I understand where you're coming from. These are things I'd been through. Now, there was some speculation that I had somehow encouraged her to go back to him because I'm like, cheating's not a big deal. That's not true. I tried to be supportive when she did choose to go back, but at no point when I was like, yeah, you should probably go back to him. No, that didn't happen. So I think they're over. I think they're done at this point because the things that were said were so atrocious. I mean, like the worst. Imagine telling somebody your lowest moments of your life and then having them go on a live and be like, well, I was only with them because they were going to be this low and like do all this stuff. It was brutal. If he had been standing in front of me, I would have absolutely put hands on him. Not joking. I am not joking. And I would have taken the whatever the consequences would have been, because put a 1 in the chat if you guys watched Aaron Smith-Levin's video and what that 2.5 hour video about what he said about Jenna. I don't want to say the things because they're atrocious and I don't know if they're true or not. It's not my place. But in that live, when he was saying it, I did have him on the screen and I was like, okay, well, that seems like Darvo, which is apparently a trigger word in this community. Okay, you guys were there. I'm getting a lot of 1s in the chats. Thank you. And for anybody watching on the replay, I'm so sorry. I don't know where you can find the information, because the next thing that happened was all of a sudden, Jenna and Aaron both take their videos down of each other. So the only thing left hanging in the air is this accusation against my husband that was designed specifically to cause strife in my marriage That's what was stated. And make him shut me up. It was sick. It was horrific. Yeah. It was disgusting. Yep. Okay, guys, don't start fighting in the chat about politics, pretty please. But thank you, Penelope. Yeah, so the things that were said, again, I was shocked. I was shocked that they could just go back. The problem is that the rest of us couldn't go back. I couldn't go back. In fact, I made a short. I made a silly short where it's like, the Men in Black, where it's like, where you look into it and then everybody, like, our memory is supposed to be erased. I can be, okay, fine. He was an asshole. You guys fought. Okay, whatever. He cheated on you for your, like, whatever. Again, right? Glass house, I guess, sure. But when you start calling me and telling me that you're in a domestic violence situation, and then that guy makes up horrific lies to destroy my life, my family, and then you go back and you sit beside him and say things about me, that I somehow overreacted to this situation, that I somehow have a hero complex because I took you seriously when you asked for my help. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's not a fair, that's not fair. And if you're asserting now that you are no longer in an unsafe relationship, then I'm honestly glad for you. Nobody wanted that for you in the first place. But don't call me petty and don't call me jealous. Because when you said the seriousness of your situation, I reacted as seriously as you told me it was. So when I saw that Jenna and Aaron had both taken their videos down, I knew. Because Jenna wasn't at her best when she was making the response video, and I get it. They just both wanted it to go away. And so they both took their videos down. And again, what was left hanging? Me, my husband. And just before they had taken those videos down, I had said, Jenna, did you tell Aaron? Did everything I ever told you? What the fuck, bro? Do you not have a girl code at all? And then I think, where would she have learned girl code? There's no girl code in Lord of the Flies, which is essentially a Scientology upbringing in the cadet organization. So the fact that I would even assume or hope or think that there would be some sort of girl code was on me. That's a me thing. That's a me problem. Because that's not what that doesn't exist. So once I saw those videos were down, okay, let's back up. Before the videos were down, after the assertion had been made, Jenna sent me a bunch of videos. She was like, I'm going to post this, I'm going to post that. And I was honest with her. I was like, I don't think you want to post that. I don't think that's going to do what you think it's going to do. Probably should have just let her. I probably should have been a shitty friend who was just looking out for myself, because at the end of that video, there was like a 30-second little chunk where she said, I did not say that about Liz's husband. Aaron made it up. It's disgusting. He's trying to triangulate us, and it's false. But because they went and made a deal, she didn't post that video anymore. She didn't say anything. And that was a shitty moment. It was a shitty realization moment for me. That sucked for me. I don't know how it was for anybody else, but that sucked for me. But I had screen recorded that 30 seconds about my husband. Did I screen record her entire message? No. She did call me. She's like, do you have that whole video? I'm not here to blackmail or extort you guys. You made your own mess. I am not here to clean it up or make it messier. I literally don't even give a shit about you guys. I know that's harsh, but like I can't care about you anymore, Aaron and Jenna. When I cared, you used it against me. And I did think that we were friends. I did. So, I mean, honestly, I think the last thing that Jenna and I had said to each other during that text message before she took the videos down was like, she was like, don't worry. Like, I've got your back. I've got you. And then poof, just disappeared. Made a deal. So like I said, when those videos went down, I knew damn well what happened. Nobody has to tell me what happened. It was not my first rodeo. So I texted her and I said, while you're making deals, why don't you make one for me? And she literally did. She went back and forth with me and Aaron a couple times and she was like, he wants you to take your video down and then he'll take his video down. And I was like, he needs to apologize to my husband. And he wouldn't, which you can't legally enforce, but just as me to like the friend group, I was like, hello, he needs to apologize publicly. This is not okay. And he wouldn't, he didn't, whatever. Of course not. Yeah. And that was that. I was like, okay, okie dokie. Sounds good. Fine. So then, we go on with our lives, whatever the fuck, you do you. And people are like, they're back together. I was like, probably. Because I remember when Jenna spoke and what she said and how she felt. And so I wasn't actually that surprised. I was disappointed, but not surprised. And so I think when something happened where, like I said, because of the false statement that was made, my husband did choose to take action, legal action, and that is still happening. Or not happening, but it's like ongoing. And so I don't really want to talk about that a lot. The only thing that I will say is that Aaron said some stuff on one of his protests, and it was sent to me. And Aaron said a couple things. He said, I heard that Liz's husband's going to sue me. If he sues me, I am going to go after Nora. Okay, I just want to be really clear here. So Nora has, her own relationship and her own things and her own stuff. But part of what you're seeing, you guys, when you are seeing this hatred toward Nora, it is, Nora has called him out on his shit a lot and he doesn't like that. But there's this other level too that I think everybody should be aware of, that this man specifically said that he will punish my friend for his own wrongdoing and he will not apologize. But if he is continued to be called out on his actions, or if he is served with a lawsuit, then he will destroy her. That's what he said. And since then, there had been a lot of things said, like, Nora should be in an insane asylum. Nora should be this in a padded room. And, basically that he's not going to stop until that happens. This is the president of a foundation and another board member, frankly, using their platform to mock the mental health of an ex-Scientologist that their organization helped, to the point where they want to make her inconsolable and quiet. I can't stand by and say nothing when that happens. People cheating, people talking crap, whatever, the drama, that's one thing. When we now are talking about trying to drive people insane by using their vulnerabilities that we only know about because we are in a position of help. Like, that is beyond negligence to me. That becomes malicious intent. And the only other step and jump I can go there becomes like evil. That feels evil to me. And so now there's an active lawsuit that Aaron has spoke about a lot. And one of the biggest criticisms is something that I can speak on, because as many trad wives might know, you do end up being a little bit of a secretary for your husband sometimes, if you choose to, if that's your vibe, and that is mine, and that has happened in our home. And so I am aware of and have coordinated on some of the things. And Aaron and Jenna both have said, and many people in their camp have said, that I am a disgusting person because I facilitated and helped with serving papers on the lawsuit at Aaron's court date. Okay, so he got those battery charges. He was going to trial. It was a big morning. He shows up to the courthouse right before his trial. He gets served with defamation paperwork. This is not a secret. He has spoken about this very loudly. As my husband's quote secretary, I could speak on this. And if you actually look up the case file, it is also legally and formally documented. Aaron was attempted to be served several times. He didn't open his door. So let that sink in, guys. At least 4 times. I think they went above and beyond that, but at least 4 times with confirmed lights on his house, sound in his house, car in the driveway. Did not answer his door to be served. And so it's very normal and logical then to serve somebody at a place you know that they have to be, a courthouse. So I'll say that. Okay, so this brings me back to where we are now. And where we are now is that Jenna and Aaron made a video with the thumbnail that says, Liz Gale threatens Jenna Miscavige. And I believe what they're referring to is this threat that all of this is going to end up on TikTok. And I mean, I'll admit, there's a sassy part of me that's like, damn, I should take this to TikTok. And one might wonder why I don't, honestly, because I have, 65,000 followers over there, not that many here. And I actually don't do that well on YouTube. I think I'm still like losing some subscribers that overlapped with me and Aaron and Jenna, to be honest. But you guys know about this world in a different way. And so I find a lot of value in coming here and chatting with you and all that. So take that for what you will. So where we stand today is that behind a paywall, they have this video, Liz Gale threatens Jenna Miscavige. And they say pretty much all the things that I just talked about earlier. That I never did anything on the foundation. I'm making a circus of the relationship, that I am somehow looking for domestic violence where it doesn't exist, and then trying to put myself on a pedestal by championing for it in some capacity. A lot of other things were said. They also accused me, like I said earlier at the beginning of this live, of doing tons of stuff that Nora is actually responsible for. But did I cheer her on? I mean, maybe. Am I going to now more? Yes, absolutely. But I really don't want to do this tit for tat. They said this, they said that. But there's this kind of assertion out there that I have somehow decided to sabotage this person that I used to call a friend, Jenna Miscavige. I don't know. I mean, Let me think for a second. I think I need to tell you guys one more thing. When Aaron went on that live and threatened to go after Nora, I texted Jenna and I was like, hey, actually I was pretty pissed off. And he did triangulate us because he was like, I have all your text messages. I have all your text messages with Jenna. So I messaged her and I was like, did you fucking give him like all of our text messages? That's weird. Like, that's really weird. And again, it seems like a basic fundamental boundary, but if you're, I guess if you're raised by Lord of the Flies, you don't have that. And again, it's on me for assuming. But I did assume and I was wrong and I was shocked that I was wrong and I reacted. And I said, what the fuck? Just so you know, your ex-boyfriend is saying that he's going to drag your ass into our lawsuit and he's going to punish Nora. What the fuck? So she calls me. She's like, hey, he's trying to triangulate us. Let's make a promise or a deal or like a contract. I don't know what the right word is. It wasn't a promise, but like, let's not let that happen. And if something comes up again in the future, let's check in with each other before we freak the fuck out. Okay, cool. That seems fair. We talked for like 2 hours. I mean, my family was like, why are you here? We were out yelling at each other and then we were calming down. Then we were yelling. I'm going to say this with all my heart. Like the minute I met her, I loved her. I love Jenna. I think she has so much potential, but I also think that I have built her to be a parasocial thing in my life because I read her book and it inspired me before I met her. And maybe I just think of her as this person that she's not. And again, that's on me. So fine. If the person you really are is the one who gives all your fucking text messages to your shitty ex, then so be it. But in that conversation, we did agree no triangulation. Do you remember that? And a bunch of other stuff. And she had told me I haven't talked to him in 4 weeks and I have no intention to. However, when I pushed back on a couple of things, she was pretty defensive of him and the foundation. And I think I straight up told her, I was like, my question was, even before, I think it was like, does he have something on you? And I don't even mean, I'm not like I'm like, does he have some kind of blackmail on you? Does he have some kind of video of you? Does he why are you giving him this power? Why do you keep giving him this power? Why? Anyway, I didn't get an answer. I think she thought maybe I was joking, but I wasn't. Anyway, so that happens. We talk, we yell, we decide, at least from my perspective of the conversation, we decide we have some mutual respect for each other, some mutual dislike for each other. But we're not gonna go out of our way to attack each other. We're not gonna allow ourselves to be triangulated by your shitty ex-boyfriend current boyfriend. Those were things we said, right? But your word means shit, Jenna. That's where we are now. Your word means nothing. To me, anyway. That said, I don't wish you harm. I don't wish you ill. I don't have any intentions of sabotaging. What does that even mean? That might have been a button I kind of pushed because it is so glaringly obvious that Jenna is terrified that this information will go to TikTok because TikTok would eat this shit up. This would definitely go viral for real. And I laugh because I'm not the one who's going to stop that. But can I not get a little bit of credit for keeping it over here this whole time? For not whatever. No, I'm not going to get any credit because they think I'm a shitty person. That's fine. That is A-okay. People are going to think what they think, So where does that put us today? Yes, they had their members only video. Jenna was very clear. She said, I'm the one who came up with this shit talking behind a paywall. I think that they are making a lot of money. I don't know if that's worth what I consider to be the risk to the reputation, because honestly, you guys look like a couple little bitches, but that's fine. Maybe that's part of your new thing. I also know for a fact that I was contacted and they were contacted by a reality show about life after a cult in love. My husband's not into that kind of thing. We said no, thank you. But I wonder sometimes if Jenna and Aaron did go further down that route and are either close to that or maybe aren't doing that but are trying to get it back. I don't really know. I don't really care. My point just is to say that it feels like they're trying to hide who they are and hide the past. And there has to be a means to an end for that. Maybe it's just reputational. I don't really know. Again, it's not my fucking problem. Yeah. And in that live, I think it was like an hour and 38 minutes. Pretty much everything we talked about here, I think was covered. But I kind of want to leave it on a couple of notes, a couple of things. First of all, I want to say thank you for the laugh that my husband and I got, because Aaron's hot tea is that my husband had some male model photos from his 20s. And when you fill up, you do your little thing, you check the box that, yeah, you'll do nude photos. And Aaron's thing was like, oh, I'm going to release these nude photos or whatever. And I'm like, oh, baby, show them to mama. But I thought that was funny. Because I thought, wow, Aaron, you're accusing me of trying to sabotage when you are doing everything you can to make my marriage like yours. And it's not. And it never will be. Because I don't think like you. Neither does my husband. So there's that. I will say I did try to follow my husband's advice. I said, babe, I'm going to say something. And he was like, okay. And I was like, so do you have any words of advice for me? He said, just try to be as kind as possible. And I honestly have tried to do that today. I didn't call anybody, I didn't body shame anybody. That's been done to me. I haven't, whatever. I'm not going to be like, I didn't do this. But I will say that I've tried to be on my best behavior today. I will say that. I think I want to end this. Must be a squirrel out there. With just a message, I think. Yes, it is a problem that my husband is confident and sexy. Just kidding. That's in the chat right here. See? All right. Thank you, Jojo. And thank you for being here and modding for me. Super helpful. I didn't reach out to you ahead of time. I wasn't sure if I would have a mod. I'm so grateful for you. Okay, so I want to end this on a direct note. First, I'm going to direct this to everybody, and then I think I'll end on a note to Jenna in particular. The first thing I want to say is that I love some drama. I do. I think, I think there's some fun to be had sometimes. And that's a tricky line to walk. Sometimes we know we've gone too far when we go too far. For me, when somebody that I, at one point in my life, loved and cared about, tells me that they are being hurt and they need help, that's not drama to me. That's not drama anymore. when people say that children are hurting and that, vulnerable people are hurting because of this, I tend to shift out of my, oh, it's drama type capacity. At first, I kind of thought it was funny. And then when I really started understanding the situation, I don't think it's funny. And then when I started to understand just how far some people will go to protect their reputations, I realized, oh, this really isn't funny. This is serious. Yeah. I mean, all the crap talking online, that's pretty funny. Calling me jealous or whatever, like, I think that's funny. But the actual fact that someone had been hurt and now that person is saying it's okay, that bothers me. I don't like that. And if I have a voice, then I'll say I don't like it. I don't think that's okay. The next thing, and then I'm going to probably go, is probably going to come off a little more harsh. But I'll do my best to follow my husband's advice and be kind. And not spiteful, because I do feel angry. I will say there's a part of me that feels angry. That's like, you did this, you sit in your bed, like you lay in your bed, you made it. It's not where I'm going to go with this. I'm going to say this. Jenna, you asked me to stop talking about you. You asked, no. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Let me start over. let me start over. Oh. Let me start over. Okay. Jenna. I hope it works out for you. And I hope this was a healing moment, not my life, but like whatever you've been through lately that gave you the confidence and this idea to go back and get married to Aaron. I will always be rooting for you to have a healthy relationship and for you to be happy. I know the shit that you went through and how challenging it must be to experience love and be in that situation. And I'm totally rooting for you. And I always have been. I think that when you went back and you did me dirty the way that you did, that's the reason that I'm upset with you. I'm not judging you for going back to, I don't like it. I think it's stupid, but it's not, that would never make me just discredit you as a human. The reason that I am frustrated and I think that you have gone too far is because you know that Aaron lied. And you know he did it to hurt me and destroy me because I stood up for you. And yet, not only are you just like not saying anything, you're going on live and charging money to talk crap about me and say that I'm jealous of you. I want you to explain to me, Jenna, what I'm jealous of you for. Because it's not for your life. It's not for your relationship. It's not for your past. It's not for your family. And I like my hair and my face and my body. Not putting you down, but I don't need to be like you. Are you really going to sit there and say that I'm jealous and petty for trying to look out for you? And yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to take it to TikTok. I didn't. And even when I do, like today, I'm talking about my experience. I don't know why you went back. And it's none of my fucking business. I'm not going to make it my business. But just remember that you're sitting next to a liar who tried to triangulate us, and you let it work. And one day you're going to want friends. One day you're going to need friends. And I don't wish any ill for you. I don't even want to pay you back for the feeling the quote harm that you've given me. I want you to be happy and healthy, Jenna. But I have to protect my family. And when you choose to align with someone who has both verbalized and taken action to destroy my marriage and my family out of retaliation for rising to the occasion to help you, because you said you needed to go to the police right now. You said that you needed help. You said, please, please, please. And I was there for you. And just so you know, out here in the real world, when you're not raised by the Lord of the Flies, that behavior is totally unacceptable. I don't know what is in your future, but I know what's in mine. I will continue to do what I have done for the past 10 years of my life. Before you came back, I was on TikTok talking about Scientology and talking about my life. And I will continue to do that. And to the degree that you and your shitty boyfriend continue to be, quote, in my life or about my life or charging money to talk about my life, then you are continuing the circus. I hear many, many, many more things that are petty in my mind, but I'm going to stop right there. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And it doesn't matter to me if you think I'm petty or you think I'm jealous. I wouldn't want to change places with you for $1 million, Jenna. I don't envy your position. And the last thing I want to do is make it harder for you to get out when you're ready. I don't want to be a part of any opposition, making you feel like the outside world is somehow against you. I see it for what it is. And I've fallen into the trap of being triangulated against somebody else before in my life too. Thank you. Thank you, Onita. Gosh, you have pretty eyes. Thank you. I'm trying to get it off, but you guys are commenting. I love that. I love that for me. So anyway, I'd love for this kind of to be the last time I talk about it. But I suspect it won't. I expect it won't be, honestly, because in my humble opinion, I scare Aaron. And I believe that as he feels more and more threatened and as opportunities come closer and closer to him, that he has to hide his past and hide the narrative and control his partner to only be able to say, what he thinks or whatever. I believe that this type of behavior will escalate. But you know what, Jenna? You know fucking what, Jenna? I'd help you again in a heartbeat. And if you ever need my help again, I'll be there. Because you don't deserve to be talked down to. You don't deserve to be thrown around. You don't deserve to be gaslighted. You don't deserve to be cheated on. You don't deserve to have all your friends triangulated against you. You deserve a lot better than that. And one day, I hope you get everything that you ever wanted. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I do. I thought of you like a sister. And again, that's on me. That's a me problem. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. And once more for the people in the back. Domestic violence is not drama. It's not funny. It's not a circus. My husband and I both deserve fucking apologies. But we won't be holding our breath. I don't think I have anything else to say, guys. It's been 2.5 hours. I feel like I've said everything I need to say. I sincerely hope that this is not taken as some sort of aggressive move where there's going to be some other clap back. I'm ready. As my husband says, I'm cocked back. But I'm being very clear that that's not what I want. Not mad, just disappointed. All right, guys. I will catch you on. I almost said Nora's line. That was weird. I almost said her tagline, which I've never said before, and I'm not going to start stealing now. But I'll just say I'll catch you guys later. I know I don't know if I'm the girl who's cut out to go live every day, honestly, but I will be back. I will be back, and I will definitely be back next week, and we will talk about other things. Hopefully there's no clap back, and hopefully we don't have to talk about this. Yeah. Talk about other stuff. Yeah. Not mad, just disappointed. Okay, guys, I'll see you later. Bye.
She knows herself, she finds her way. Through art and joy, she shapes each day, crafting beauty from the past.